Hey guys, welcome back to Explainer X. Today, I am going to recap a 2019 thriller movie, named Sinister Seduction. So, let's begin. Movies begin. We are shown a man named Mark, who is jogging, but then a man comes there and stabs him with a knife and kills him. After this, we are shown Mark's wife, Sharon, and she is very sad on the death of her husband, and Sharon is also going through a very bad condition. Recently she has lost her husband, and everyone came to know about his previous affair, and that is why his real estate business is also not doing much. Sharon wakes up that day after doing the show, and then she goes and picks up her son Anthony, because it was school today. Anthony isn't too excited to go to school, so, seeing this, Sharon asks him whether someone bullies you in school, so Anthony denies this, and gets ready and goes to school. After this, Detective Barnes comes to meet Sharon. Barnes is a detective and is currently working on the murder case of Sharon's husband, and he had come to meet Sharon to give an update on this matter. Both Barnes and Sharon are friends since childhood, and Barnes likes Sharon since childhood, but till now Sharon has not given him a chance. Here in school, a boy named Brent bullies Anthony in school. Then there comes another boy named Dylan, and then Brent sees him there and leaves from there. Then there comes a girl named Megan. Anthony liked Megan a lot, but he doesn't have that much guts that he can go and talk to her, and that's why when Dylan sees it all, then introduces Anthony and Megan to each other. Then Dylan takes Anthony to play football on the school grounds. Brent is also there. Then Brent breaks the rule to hurt Anthony, so let's rusticate her. Dylan also helps Anthony a lot in the playground, and then when both are in the dressing room, Anthony asks Dylan, "Why are you helping me so much?" So on this, Dylan says that I know that you have lost your dad recently, and my dad also committed suicide 2 years ago. I know what it is like to lose a dad, and that's why I'm helping you. After this, when Anthony opens his locker, his clothes are not there, and then he goes and checks the toilet. You look like someone has put his clothes in the toilet. Actually, this work was also done by that bully boy named Brent. Then Anthony goes home with Dylan. This is where Anthony tells his mom. Sharon also gets happy, hearing that today she has organized a party in the house, because now Anthony is also socializing. Then that night there is a party at Anthony's house, and Dylan goes inside the house to go to the bathroom. Here he accidentally enters Sharon's room, and here he is looking at Sharon's family photos. Then Sharon comes there, and then both talk to each other. Here, Dylan tells Sharon about his dad's death, and then Sharon also gives her wealth. Then a few days later, Dylan comes to see a property of Sharon. Actually, Sharon does real estate business and this house also belongs to him. But now he does not want to live in this house, because he misses Mark a lot in this house. Dylan tells him that my uncle wants to buy this property, and then he looks at the whole house. A few days later, Anthony plays better than Brent in football practice. Brent gets angry, seeing Anthony playing well, and then he goes to Anthony's locker to put Anthony's clothes in the toilet, but this time the locker is locked. After this, Dylan comes there, and, seeing Brent near Anthony's locker, threatens him, in order not to bully and harass Anthony. Here in the house, Sharon gets mail from the man with his previous affair. Such mails have come before that too, but she has not told Detective Barnes about it yet because she did not want to. That he should discuss his affair with Barnes because it was too awkward for him. Then, when Sharon tells her secretary Katie about the mails, Katie also gives that advice, that she should talk to Barnes about it. But Sharon still makes excuses, and she doesn't tell him anything afterwards. Then motivates Dylan Anthony in school, and he asks her to take Megan on a date. Then Anthony asks Megan for a date, and she agrees. That same night, Anthony takes Dylan's car and goes on a date, and that's why Dylan stays at Anthony's house. Now Dylan and Sharon were alone at home. Then both discuss the misery happening in each other's life. Here, Dylan asks Sharon to tear the pages of Mark's book. Sharon feels quite relieved doing this. On the other hand, Anthony's date is going very well here, and both do kissing in the car. Then when Sharon is taking bath in the house, then Dylan comes to the bathroom, and he joins her by taking off his clothes. Sharon sees this, but she cannot refuse him, and then from this their affair starts. After a while, Anthony comes back home from his date, and then Dylan goes to his house. Then we are shown Dylan's house, which happens to be in very bad condition. That is, the kind of lifestyle he was showing to others. That was all fake. Then we come to know that the mail Sharon was getting, it was none other than Dylan sending him. That is, whatever is happening till now, it's no coincidence, and Dylan becomes Anthony's friend for some reason. A few days later, at school, Brent confronts Anthony's girlfriend, Megan. There's something wrong with Dylan, and he is hiding something from us, but Megan does not believe his words. Then Brent tells him, if you want, you can go to the office and see Dylan's file. Actually, Megan's mother used to work in the office, and that's why she could access student records. Then after a while, Brent meets Dylan and tells him that I know about one of your truths, and I'll tell everyone. Hearing this, Dylan gets tensed, that maybe Brent did not know about his truth, and that's why he makes plans, and meets Anthony and tells him, that you will not lie to me. Anthony has no other choice and agrees. Dylan then cuts his hand with a knife, and he goes and talks to everyone, that this is what Brent did to him. Detective Barnes also comes to school because it was a serious matter, and he tells everything to Sharon, and Sharon also comes to school. When asked by Barnes, Dylan says, that Brent has stabbed me, and Brent Anthony was also afraid of the same knife. When Barnes asks Antoine if it is true, then he would say yes, it is true. Now all the evidence is against Brent. That's why Brent is suspended from school. Then Sharon comes home with Anthony and tells her, why you never told me that someone bullied you in school, and both start quarreling over this matter. Actually, Anthony had seen Sharon who had torn Mark's books, and this did not suit her, and she started to feel that Sharon never loved Mark's. After this, Sharon finds out that Anthony also knows about his past affair, and her date had told her about it. Then Anthony angrily leaves from there. After a while, Sharon gets a message from Dylan, and he wanted to see that property again. Again, Sharon goes to that house, so Dylan is also there, and then here both of them come close, and start kissing when those people are kissing. Then someone makes a video clip of both of them. The next day at school, Megan meets Anthony and shows her the kiss video. That is, Megan had recorded that video last night. Actually, Megan came to know about Dylan's truth, and when he told Dylan about it, Dylan called Megan to meet him at the same place where he was kissing Sharon, and then Megan made her video. Then Megan tells Anthony that Dylan is lying to all of us. Even his name is not actually Dylan, and he has completed his schooling 3 years back, and he had deliberately called me to that place so that I can record the video of him and Sharon kissing. Knowing all this, Anthony does not reject much and says that this is my mom's second affair. Megan then asks him about the incident that killed Dylan with Brent's knife. Anthony lied that day, so he leaves without telling Megan a word. After some time, Dylan meets Megan, and then he snatches her phone, and he takes that video in his phone. When Megan is leaving from there, then Dylan also runs after him. After a while, Sharon finds out that someone has uploaded a video of him and Dylan's kiss on social media, and seeing this, she gets tensed. And then there comes Detective Barnes, and he tells Sharon that I have now been expelled from Mark's murder case because the case was not progressing. Then Sharon tells him about that video of hers, and then she also tells about the males from who met him. Sharon did not tell this to Barnes before. Because of this, he gets angry and leaves from there. Here Anthony gets Megan's message, and she invites him to Dylan's house. Anthony can't find anyone in the Dylan house, and yet Dylan attacks him from behind, and he faints. Here we learn that Dylan had messaged Anthony from Megan's phone. Then Dylan becomes Megan and messages Sharon that today Anthony will stay in my house. After this, Sharon gets a mail from his previous affair at night. Joe invites Sharon to meet him at his house. Megan informs Detective Barnes about it before leaving. Actually, Dylan was also sending this mail to Sharon. After this, Sharon goes inside that house, and there she sees Dylan, and here Dylan tells him the whole truth. Actually, Sharon's first with whom the affair was going on. He was none other than Dylan's father, and when everyone came to know about this affair, then Dylan's father committed suicide, and Dylan feels guilty to Sharon, and that's why he wants to take revenge on Sharon. And Dylan also says this after this, that he had murdered his husband Mark, and then he gives Sharon a knife, and also asks him to commit suicide, threatens him that I have Anthony, and if you don't do this, I will kill Anthony. But Sharon does not listen to him, and then she stabs the knife in Dylan's leg, and starts running from there. At the end of time, Detective Barnes also comes there, and then Sharon tells the whole truth to Barnes. Barnes goes inside and looks for Dylan, but Dylan had left. Sharon then goes to Dylan's house with Barnes to rescue her son. On the other hand, when Anthony regains consciousness, and then he sees that he is tied to a tree inside a forest, and Megan keeps up with him too. Then both of them release themselves from the rope with the help of each other. Meanwhile, Sharon and Barnes also reach Dylan's house, and then those people in front of his house to find Anthony. Going inside the woods, Barnes is left behind, and only then Dylan comes there and attacks Barnes with a knife. Being injured, Barnes also faints there. After this, Dylan takes the gun of Barnes. Then Anthony comes there, and then he tries to convince Dylan. Then Megan attacks him from behind. Sharon picks up the gun again, and then she knocks Dylan unconscious by hitting him with a gun. Then she is about to kill Dylan. That's when Anthony stops him. And then we are shown the time after a short time. And now Sharon thinks of giving a chance to Detective Barnes. And both start dating. And on the other hand, the relationship between Sharon and Anthony also gets better. And when they are happy, and then this is